Welcome back to Benny's Custom Works, proudly supported by Valvoline and Sparesbox. Don't forget BCW5 on checkout. We're going to be putting the barrow back in the car today. Hopefully by the end of the day it'll be running and completely ready to go. The reason I need the car running today is we've actually got a drift day early next week in which I need to tow the IS200 to, and this is the only car I've got that can actually tow a trailer. So putting that in and getting it running is not optional. I always like to put Antiseize on both the dowel pins and also the receiving area inside the crank where the torque converter normally goes. I have been unlucky enough to experience seized torque converters before, and it's definitely no fun. So yeah, always try and put a nice sort of layer of Antiseize here. And also on the dowel pins, it helps both guide them in when you're assembling it, and it also helps if you do have to pull the engine out or pull the box out later. You're definitely not going to have seized dowel pins into the box. Because of the metallurgy differences between the dowel pins here, which are steel, and obviously the aluminium transmission case, you can get a lot of corrosion. So the Antiseize also helps with that. This is a 3584 turbo. So basically it's a factory Ford housing style turbo. So it's actually a high float original turbo. So this would have started out life as a 3576, which is exactly what this is. This is the factory Ford turbo for the FG barrows. BA and BF actually had a 3582 on them factory. Alex at High Spool did a high flow and a recondition on this one for us. So this actually came to me as a 3584, but the previous shop who did the work was not bad, but it definitely had its issues. And unfortunately, someone actually used the wrong oil feed fitting into the cartridge, so it stripped the thread. So it originally went to Alex to replace the center cartridge or the housing on the cartridge, but when he pulled it apart, he found other parts that were wrong with it. So he's basically done a full freshen up and actually replaced the front cover and remachined it. So it's all, the tolerances are all correct. So hopefully this thing will give us a bit more power. We do also have a adjustable actuator now that we can replace the springs on it. I believe it's got about a 10-pound spring in it now, which for me I think will be enough to get us going. But yeah, later on in the future we'll definitely be giving this thing a bit of a tickle up. I do want to put an exhaust and an intercooler on it though, so I need to order those. But for now all we're going to do is basically get our fuel system in place and let the Haltech do the long-term fuel trims. We're going to adjust our injector size. Obviously we're going to put a fuel pump in it as well because the factory pump's probably pretty tired now. It has been doing a little bit of weird stuff lately relating to fuel, so I do want to replace that pump regardless. But yeah, it's going to basically give us a little bit more power. We're not going to go running E85 or 500 kilowatts in this thing, although it will have the potential to. I don't want to go kind of blowing up ZF boxes, and the tail shaft that's in it is fairly new, but it is an OEM style shaft, so I don't want to be damaging that sort of gear either. And primarily it's a tow car, not a race car, so having a little bit more power will be definitely handy, but I don't need 500 kilowatts. So that's enough of the turbo chat. We're going to throw this sucker in. Make sure you run the wire to your ZF when you put your engine back in, otherwise your gearbox doesn't work. It's heaps easier if you don't forget the first time too, just quietly. Just a handy little tip for a lot of 6-cylinder cars, the starter motor is normally tucked up under the inlet manifold. Barrows are bad for it, and also RBs, the top bolt can be a bit of a mission to get in once you've already got the starter motor in position. These studs, this is an inlet manifold stud from something, I can't remember what it's from, but this is 8 by 1.25, which is the thread for a Barra starter motor. So that's now going to go in our top hole, and what it means is all I've got to do is get a nut onto that stud, and it actually positions the starter motor correctly straight away. So you basically just got to slip it onto that stud and then put a nut on the top, and you can also put your bolt in at the bottom. It's also worth noting too, make sure you put your bottom bolt in before you go tightening the top nut, because as usual you do need to just make sure that all of your bolts are engaged before you go tightening it up as an assembly. But yeah, handy little tip to put a stud where there used to be a bolt in the top starter motor hole. Also really handy for our 32 GTRs, as it turns out. It's heaps easier if you can take this tensioner off to get the belt behind it. You can force it in there, but I don't really want to damage a brand new belt. We're about to do the first start, but with all new engines or engines that have been apart before, you really want to get oil pressure around the engine before you go just firing it. So a handy way to actually stop it starting is just disconnect the crank angle sensor. It's never going to fire. You could also disconnect the injectors or the coils, but both of those are a little bit more challenging to get to on this particular engine. So yeah, just knock that crank angle sensor off and you can basically crank the thing for days and it's never going to fire. So yeah, we're just going to pretty much crank it now until we get oil pressure on the dash. Once we get that, put the crank angle sensor on and fire it up. Because we're going to be upgrading the fuel system on this throughout this episode as well, I do want to run it and just make sure that we don't have any issues before we go doing that, because you don't want to go introducing issues to the engine or to a new engine if you know all that stuff worked in the previous engine. It's easier to kind of check it and know where you're at before you go swapping bits out. So that's exactly what we're going to do now. Clipper up. That's what I like about cars with a map sensor. You can run it with no cooler piping on it. It's not going to do weird stuff. So now that we've got it basically running, we'll get the fans in and start with our fuel system of death. Always remember to plug the fans back in. That used to be a rookie error on my part back in the day. The thing goes mad on the street and then boils over at the rank. That was a first year fail. But the fans only work when you plug them back in, kids. One of the parts we're using today in our fuel system upgrade is the GFB FX-S. It is a fuel reg replacement for the Falcon, among other things. So this is a Bosch reg factory that clips into the rail itself. So there's actually no fitting on the rail that you can kind of put an adapter on, but GFB have made a really nice little base on the bottom of this reg, which allows a direct fitment to the rail. Other companies kind of make a billet adapter that goes in the rail and then run external hoses and stuff, but this is super neat and it works with the factory rail really nicely. So it keeps a stock appearance, and the reg is actually tucked pretty far under the firewall, kind of recessed in this area. So If you are trying to fly under the radar, you can't really see this unless you go looking for it. So yeah, it's a really nice little addition to what we're going to be doing today. We're going to set the fuel pressure to 45 psi with the vac line off while the engine's running. That's basically forward factory fuel pressure. Then if we do happen to go and tune it, we need a little bit more base pressure, we can add that. However, there should be no reason between the pump, the injectors and the reg that we're now running that we need to add more base pressure. I mean, you can kind of sneak more base pressure in if you're trying to use smaller injectors, but we are going to go to a 1000cc injector. So running the standard factory 45 psi base pressure is not going to be an issue for us today. Let's keep on. So we've got our injector data sheet basically from Raceworks, which gives us all sorts of information, way more stuff than I understand. But what we're actually going to punch into the ECU is the flow rate at the fuel pressure we're selected, which is 45 psi with the vac reg, with the vac line off of the reg. So basically go to the sheet. We've got 43.5 psi here, so I think those numbers will work pretty well. On this sheet, it's referred to as injector offset, but it's also referred to in the Haltech as the dead time. So we've just got to go to the column from here and punch in all of the numbers to suit battery voltage. So Haltech goes 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. And the sheet actually starts at 6 volts here. So, I mean, the battery voltage is never ever going to be 4 volts. So I'm not too worried about that particular cell, but we'll populate the rest of the table so that we get our dead times pretty well close. Then we'll go and actually adjust our injector size or flow to match those data as well. Then we'll start up and see how it runs. It's currently running on the old injector size, so it's definitely running pretty rich. But we'll smash these numbers in and see how we go. We've got our fuel pump installed in the cradle now, and I thought it was just a nice little bit of information for you guys if you are going to attempt this on your Falcon. This is the factory, well, this was the factory wiring harness that goes between the stock fuel pump and the hat. And it actually uses the same pins in this housing, even though the housing itself for the terminal is different. It uses the same pin. So what I actually did was use the pigtail that came with that pump and just swap the connector over. So it means there's 0 joins in the tank. It's a fully terminated loom that should never fail because it's basically a factory forward part just with the change connector. So it means it's a complete plug and play wiring harness, and it should fit straight back in the tank, no worries. Well, we've had a pretty successful day. The utes all back up and running. We've got all of our Raceworks injectors and our fuel pump and our GFB reg engage in. We've also put a new fuel filter, so we've basically overhauled the fuel system. Hopefully, sooner or later we'll be able to go and get it tuned. Scotty will no doubt jump on the keyboard again and set us up. But yeah, pretty happy with how it's all turned out. So should be a pretty reliable truck for a long time yet. Massive thanks to GFB and Raceworks for their support as usual. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.